Welcome to Damn Good Movie Memories with your host, Brian Davis. This podcast is the cure for your long commute and super boring workday. Hey there, it's Brian Davis, and for this week's episode, we're going to talk about our favorite John Hughes movies. John Hughes was a staple of the 1980s and produced so many amazing films, directing and writing, that the 1980s and the early 1990s would have not been the same without him. So we're going to dedicate an episode just to his films. Now, since he only directed 8 films, it's kind of narrow. So what I tried to do here is my guests that I interviewed, they had to name one directing John Hughes film, their favorite, and one that he wrote, because he wrote over 47 films. So we're going to do that. But for me, since I can do whatever I want on this show, and I did a top 10 list which combined all of my favorites that he wrote and directed. So let's start with that list now. All right, number 10 for my favorite John Hughes movies is Home Alone from 1990. John Hughes wrote the screenplay for this. Home Alone is like a live-action Looney Tunes cartoon. Really, there's no better way to put it. As a kid, I absolutely loved how Macaulay Culkin's character set up all these elaborate schemes and traps for the wet bandits, who were played by Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern. The 1980s, again, would have not been the same without John Hughes' talents. And, of course, my favorite scene was with the 1930s-style gangster parody movie made specifically for Home Alone called Angels with Filthy Souls, which was a direct takeoff from the James Cagney movie entitled Angels with Dirty Faces.
Who is it?
It's me, Snakes. I got the stuff.
Leave it on the doorstep and get the hell out of here.
All right, Johnny. But what about my money?
What money?
AC said you had some dough for me.
That a fact. How much do I owe you?
AC said 10%.
Too bad AC ain't in charge no more.
What do you mean?
He's upstairs taking a bath. He'll call you when he gets out. Hey, I tell you what I'm gonna give you, Snakes. I'm gonna give you to the count of 10 to get your ugly, yellow, no-good keister off my property before I pump your guts full of lead.
All right, Johnny, I'm sorry. I'm going.
1, 2, 10. Keep the change, you filthy animal.
All right, number 9 is Uncle Buck from 1989. Ironically, I saw Uncle Buck in the theater when it came out with, you guessed it, my uncle. Hey, Uncle Daryl, hope you're listening. Anyway, so this one was actually written and directed by John Hughes, so of course it's awesome. And John Candy plays Buck, a lovable but lackadaisical bachelor who is asked to take care of his brother's 3 kids. You can imagine the sort of scenarios that occur for someone who is not used to taking care of 2 preteens and 1 teenager. Macaulay Culkin and Gabby Hoffman are terrific as the preteen kids. Jean Louisa Kelly kind of nails the role of an angry teenager. And then, of course, Amy Madigan plays Buck's long-suffering girlfriend. Movies like this really never go out of style, and it's a super fun comedy to watch with anyone and at any time. And John Candy is so likable in this role, you almost wish they made a sequel. But sadly, John Candy died only 5 years after this film was released.
Cover your ears.
What?
Just do it. Call me.
You ever hear of a tune-up?
You ever hear of a ritual killing?
I don't get it.
You know on her face in public like that again and you'll be one.
Are you crazy?
I can be.
You could have taken his head off.
Yeah, but what'd he notice?
Can we get something straight?
The guy's a predator and you're his prey.
Oh, really?
You bet.
And how do you know?
When I was his age, I was the guy zooming the girls like you. Pretty face, big chip on your shoulder.
I recommend that you stay out of my personal life.
Do your parents stay out of your personal life?
They don't know my personal life.
Have they met Twiddledink?
His name is Bug.
First or last?
First.
What's his last name? Spray?
You should talk, Buck.
All right, number 8 is Pretty in Pink. So this was written by John Hughes, but directed by Howard Deutsch, who went on and to direct other films that John Hughes wrote, and we'll get into a few of those later in the list. If I recall correctly, I believe Pretty in Pink was the first Brat Pack movie that I remember seeing. I'm pretty sure my mom rented this first and then let me watch it. And the funny part is that even at a young age, I didn't really want Molly Ringwald to end up with Ducky, played by John Cryer. Ducky was likable, but a bit much, and even though Blaine was sort of vanilla, the ending never really bothered me. Especially considering Ducky ended up with Christy Swanson at the end. Are you kidding? I'm taking Christy Swanson over Molly any day, and I'm sorry to all the Molly fans out there. Ducky actually probably should have ended up with Annie Potts, even though she was much older, but whatever. That's just me riffing on this. And of course, if you talk about Pretty in Pink, you cannot leave out the perennial 80s villain, James Spader, who is amazing as that upper-class douchebag known as Steph. Nobody could have played this role any better than James Spader. Just lines like, that girl was, is, and always will be nada. I mean, he is that role, and it just wouldn't have been as good without him.
Thought that was very uncool of you last night, Blaine.
What?
What?
You mean Andy?
Yeah, me and Andy.
What's the big deal? I like her. Matter of fact, I was pissed off at you guys for being so nasty to her.
It was way out of order for you to foist her on the party.
Steph, you hear yourself? You hear the same asshole shit I hear?
What, do I have to spell it out for you, Blaine?
I guess so.
Nobody appreciates your sense of humor, As a matter of fact, everybody's just about to puke from you. If you got a hard-on for trash, don't take care of it around us, pal, all right?
Right, buddy.
Listen, I don't need a lot of shit on this one, Blaine, all right? I really don't.
Money all that matters to you.
Where the hell does that come from? Come on, look around you. Would I treat my parents' house like this if money was any kind of issue? Well, why are you doing this, Why don't you just nail her and get it over with, Why are you getting involved?
Is there something wrong with that?
I just think it's stupid, It's pointless. And your parents, I think they'll be thrilled.
They have nothing to do with it.
Really?
Yeah.
I've seen your mother go to work on you, Blaine, It's vicious. And when Bill and Joyce get through with you, you won't know whether shit or go sailing. Listen, I'm getting really bored with this conversation, all right, Blaine? If you want your little piece of low-grade ass, fine, take it, But if you do, you're not going to have a friend.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, if you want to make the choice, go ahead and make it, all right? I personally wouldn't trash a friendship over it, but, hey, I'm old-fashioned, so... Why don't you take a shower? You look like shit.
All right, number 7 is Weird Science from 1985. This is one that John Hughes both wrote and directed. Basically, it's a modern-day Bride of Frankenstein, but much funnier. And I love Bride of Frankenstein, by the way. You even get to see a young Robert Downey Jr., gap-toothed and all, and Bill Paxton plays the perfect asshole brother as Chet. I loved all the crazy situations that Lisa, played by Kelly LeBrock, gets the boys into, including going to a sleazy bar, throwing a crazy house party, and introducing herself to Gary's parents. Gary is Anthony Michael Hall. Of course, her famous line of chips, dips, chains, whips, your basic high school orgy type of thing. Again, I don't do it justice, but it's a classic scene. This is a great movie that really never goes out of style.
Soiree over at his friend Wyatt's house.
Soiree what?
Soiree, honey, I think that means party. Party. There's going to be sex, drugs, rock and roll, chips, dips, chains, whips. Your basic high school orgy type of thing. I mean, I'm not talking candle wax on the nipples or witchcraft or anything like that. No. Just a couple of 100 kids running around in their underwear, acting like complete animals.
All right, number 6 for me is The Breakfast Club from 1985. That's not a bad year for John Hughes because he had both The Breakfast Club and Weird Science come out in the same year. Some would probably put this as number 1. I'm putting it at number 6 because I'm combining both the movies he wrote. But again, he wrote and directed this film. But again, it's so tough. John Hughes had so many great movies. It's really tough to narrow these down. So yeah, some are gonna disagree with that, and that's totally okay. That's the fun part about this show, is you can debate. There is no right or wrong answers. It's all opinion here. But The Breakfast Club is definitely one of the most iconic movies to come out of the 80s. And the reason it still resonates with people today is there are certain things about being a teenager that is timeless. And The Breakfast Club features all of these timeless qualities. As Anthony Michael Hall's character so perfectly put in the paper delivered to the assistant principal at the end of their Saturday detention, every school has a brain, an athlete, a basket case, a princess, and a criminal. The Breakfast Club is yet another amazing John Hughes movie. All of the stars in this film became 80s icons: Molly Ringwald, Judd Nelson, Anthony Michael Hall, Emilio Estevez, and Ali Sheedy. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention Paul Gleason, who was brilliant as the assistant principal, Vernon.
A naked blonde walks into a bar with a poodle under one arm and a 2-foot salami under the other. She lays the poodle on the table. Bartender says, "I suppose you won't be needing a drink." Naked lady says, "Oh, shit!"
Jesus Christ almighty!
Forgot my pencil.
God damn it! What in God's name is going on in here? What was that ruckus?
What ruckus?
I was just in my office and I heard a ruckus.
Could you describe the ruckus, sir?
Watch your tongue, young man. Watch it. What is this? What is that? What is that? What is that noise?
What noise?
Really, sir, there wasn't any noise. That noise? Was that the noise that you're talking about?
No, it wasn't. That was not the noise I was talking about. Now, I may not have caught you in the act this time, but you can bet I will. You make book on that, Missy. And you, I will not be made a fool of.
It was an accident.
You're an asshole.
Sue me.
Number 5 for my favorite John Hughes movies is 16 Candles from 1984, and this is John Hughes' directorial debut. 16 Candles is one of those movies that every teenager loves because it's got everything. The awkwardness of being a teenager, absurd scenarios that only teens can appreciate, and of course having a crush on someone hoping they feel the same way. While Molly Ringwald is the star of the film, and she's great in her role, it's really Farmer Ted, played by Anthony Michael Hall, that makes this movie so great. Hall nails the obnoxious geek role, and does it so convincingly that you can't help but love the kid. The other awesome character is Getty Watanabe as Long Duck Dong. Every time he delivers a line, it is just comedy gold. I spent years trying to style my hair so it looked like Jake Ryan. I probably still am, but, I don't have any shame in admitting it. That is a nice set of, well, it's not set. How do you have a set of hair? What the hell am I talking about? Anyway, that's a nice head of hair. There you go. Should I cut any of this out? Nah. Just go with it. It's 16 Candles. It's a great movie.
What the? What's he doing on the ground there?
What's happening? What's happened? Open a mirror in front of his mouth. Howard, he's dead.
Oh, shit. I paid $7,000 for a wedding. I'll never see it.
Oh, watch your language, Mr. Dirty Mouth.
Oh, thank God he is still warm.
Oh, good.
Here,
I'll
help you.
Canine cologne.
Oh, no more Yankee, my wanky. The donga need food.
Hell, he's 3 sheets to the wind. He's drunk as a skunk.
Oh, why don't you shut up, Fred? Shut up. Dong. Dong.
Dong, Grandpa is talking to you.
Dong. Where is my automobile?
Automobile? Leg. Big leg.
Why, you little scuzzbag. Whoa!
All right, number 4 is Some Kind of Wonderful from 1987. So this was written by John Hughes and, like Pretty in Pink, directed by Howard Deutsch. As the story goes, John Hughes basically wrote this film to appease the people that were upset by the ending of Pretty in Pink. Of course, Ducky doesn't end up with Molly Ringwald, so they kind of do the opposite in Some Kind of Wonderful. In many ways, regardless of the ending of Some Kind of Wonderful, in many ways, Some Kind of Wonderful is a better movie. It just doesn't get as much love for some reason. And I'm not really sure why. I think the soundtrack's amazing. I think the characters are great. It's a really good film. Yeah, and again, the story isn't anything new. It's, it kind of goes like boy likes popular girl can't be bothered, non-popular girl really likes the boy, but the boy only thinks of her as a buddy. Anyway, Mary Stuart Masterson is so great as the tomboy friend of Eric Stoltz, and as much as I like Leah Thompson, I don't think her character really offered that much. She's very attractive, but I had more of a thing for Masterson. It must be because she played drums in the movie. And of course, where were all those pixie cut girls that played drums when I went to school? That would have been amazing. Anyway, if you've seen Pretty in Pink but haven't bothered to see Some Kind of Wonderful, I really recommend you check out Some Kind of Wonderful.
Hey, where, don't you have any books?
No, not on me. I forgot them.
You never study.
You must be getting heat from the old man about college again.
That's all he thinks about.
Yeah, well, in comparative terms, it's probably better to have an old man nagging you about your future than no old man not nagging you about nothing.
He's not too great at home, huh?
Hey, it don't matter as long as you stand by me, I'm covered.
What would I be without you?
Well, seeing as I drive you to school every morning, you'd probably be at home asleep in bed.
Do you mind?
Very much so. I think it's hip you paint. It's hip I drum.
Hip.
It's perfect that we're friends.
All right, number 3 from 1983 is Mr. Mom. Now, John Hughes wrote this film, and he also wrote the number 1 film that I'm going to have later, both in the same year. I watched this movie over and over again on VHS as a kid, and I absolutely loved it. Michael Keaton plays a naturally likable, recently unemployed stay-at-home dad. Terry Garr plays a perfect working mom, and Martin Mull is terrific as the sexist, skirt-chasing boss. Almost a lot like Franklin Hart, played by Dabney Coleman in 9 to 5. Also of note, this was probably I think John Hughes' 3rd or 4th screenplay at the time. I'd have to go back and look. But there's so many great scenes with Michael Keaton, like him attempting to grocery shop for the first time, his disastrous attempt to drop off his kids off at school, like when the mom's yelling at him, "South to drop off, moron!" and him trying to oppress his wife's boss while revving a chainsaw in the house. It's so good. It's typical Michael Keaton. And if you haven't seen this one in a while, I recommend you go check it out. It's really a lot of 80s fun.
Dad, you passed it.
Past what? We're right on time.
But Dad, you're doing it wrong. Mommy doesn't do it like this.
We're gonna do it the Jack Butler method. What is this? This is nuts. Why are they all honking?
Because you're doing it wrong.
Tell me I'm doing it wrong. I know how to do this.
Hi, Jack. I'm Annette.
Hi.
You're doing it wrong.
See?
See, this is what I tell all my new mommies. We enter from the south and we exit from the north. And then we do just the reverse when we pick up. Swear, little ones don't have to walk between the cars to get to the learning facility. Okay, moving out. And remember, south to drop off, north to pick
Take
up.
them up. Okay, it's a good system.
South to drop off, moron!
Morning, we'd like to let you know about over the frozen food section. We have Sun Pure Meat.
Hey, Kenny, where are the eggs?
Oh, there, Dad.
98 cents. A real buy. Go over there and check it out. Remember, we're a volume store.
I have the right of way.
Right. Sorry. Here. Settle out of court.
Oh, weirdo.
Herb, clean up in aisle 4.
card check.
Clean up in produce!
I'm sorry.
Got it.
I'm sorry. Kenny, did I tell you not to touch the grapefruit?
Next,
May I have a half a pound of ham?
boiled, baked, smoked, salt cured, sugar cured, prosciutto, or Westphalian.
All right, forget it. Just tell you what. Just give me a half pound of salami.
Italian, kosher, hard pork, beef, koto, or what?
Just get bologna, mister.
I'll tell you what. Just give me a quarter pound of cheese.
American, blue, cream, cottage, Gouda, Edam, provolone, Romano, Swiss. You have your entire cheddar family.
Can you run the hams back one more time? I just want to.
Half pound of salami, half pound of Swiss, half pound of Virginia ham, 2 celery. Oh, I think these are on special.
Doesn't matter. Sorry, Griller.
Let me check. These Kotex Maxi Pads on special?
Never mind, Irv. Sorry, forget it.
Kotex, 19 cents off.
Thanks, man. It's all right, Ken. My baby. Who are you?
Steven.
Kenny! Ken! Here, eat the spaghetti.
Spaghetti on aisle 9!
Spaghetti!
Spaghetti aisle 9, check.
Kenny! Hey, I'll trade you my kid for yours.
Thank you. I don't have any kids.
Double back that, please.
Do you see my little girl?
Yeah, she's adorable.
She's lost.
You left a child in the shopping cart? One lost child.
Lost child alert.
All right, number 2 is Ferris Bueller's Day Off from 1986. Now, I've already professed my love of this movie. Whenever I was homesick from school, this always seemed to be one of my go-to movies to watch. During the famous parade scene when Matthew Broderick was lip-syncing Twist and Shout, I remember asking my dad, I must have been 7 or 8 at the time, if it was really Matthew Broderick singing. And my dad replied something like, no, I think that's some little-known band from England called The Beatles. Thanks a lot, Dad. He did make a point of telling me that the Isley Brothers were the first to have a hit with that song. I'm pretty sure he liked that version better. Anyway, as a kid, Ferris seemed like a blast, and he was fun to watch. But personally, I always laughed hardest at the scenes with Principal Ed Rooney, played by Jeffrey Jones, and, of course, Ferris's sister, Jean, or Shauna, played by Jennifer Grey. There's so many great lines between that. In that movie. And then, of course, you get Charlie Sheen at the end, who was playing basically a strung-out drug addict, which, as we found out later, wasn't too far off. It wasn't much of a reach for old Charlie, who is still continuing to be winning. Anyway, this is a classic. This is the best directed film, in my opinion, for John Hughes.
This is my 9th sick day this semester. It's getting pretty tough coming up with new illnesses. If I go for 10, I'm probably going to have to barf up a lung. So I better make this one count. The key to faking out the parents is the clammy hands. It's a good non-specific symptom. I'm a big believer in it. A lot of people will tell you that a good phony fever is a dead lock, but you get a nervous mother, you could wind up in a doctor's office. That's worse than school. You fake a stomach cramp, and when you're bent over, moaning and wailing, you lick your palms. It's a little childish and stupid, but then so is high school. Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
So, my number 1 pick for favorite John Hughes movie, either written or directed by him, is National Lampoon's Vacation from 1983. Now, this was originally a short story written by John Hughes called Vacation 58. I don't know how many things came from that in his vacation, but I'm sure there are a lot of memories he had that he added to this film. There are so many great scenes in the original Vacation that I can't possibly name them all, but this is the comedy that seemed to be on a constant loop on our family VCR, along with The Blues Brothers and Airplane. And so while I do enjoy the sequels that came out after the original Vacation, the 1983 original is by far the best one all around. And they really should have brought back Christy Brinkley into every sequel in some way. It's interesting because Chevy Chase's character, Clark Griswold, almost devolved into almost a full-blown buffoon by Vegas Vacation, which is eerily similar of how Homer Simpson's character kind of devolved into He was never smart, but he was almost just more mean, and then just became like a lovable dope to what he currently is now. But I'm probably over analyzing. Anyway, this was really fun to talk about all these great John Hughes movies. They are part of the 80s, part of the early 90s. If you missed any of these, you need to go back and watch them because they're all amazing. And I do have some honorable mentions at the end of all the interviews, and I'll get to those a little bit later. But now, on to the interviews.
I don't want to be in the car anymore. I want to go home. I don't want to go to Wally World.
Clark, under the circumstances, I wouldn't mind if we just went home. In retrospect, it seems like a pretty bad idea driving out. It's been one disaster after another.
Yeah, it's been a real drag, Dad. Maybe we can try it some other time. Wally World's overrated anyway.
What do you think?
I think you're all fucked in the head. We're 10 hours from the fucking fun park and you want to bail out. Well, I'll tell you something. This is no longer a vacation. It's a quest. It's a quest for fun. I'm gonna have fun and you're gonna have fun. We're all gonna have so much fucking fun we'll need plastic surgery to remove our goddamn smiles. You'll be whistling zippity-doo-dah out of your assholes. I gotta be crazy. I'm on a pilgrimage to see a moose. Praise Marty Moose! Holy shit!
Dad, you want to ask for something?
Don't touch!
Sarah is back. We're always actually the best stuff we do is usually off air.
I know. We're like I'm trying to keep a straight face. Where it's like, okay, are you gonna say go? Okay, go. Okay, wait.
Actually, I shouldn't do it. Sometimes I'll just leave it running. We'll see
Yeah,
what I can get.
that would be great. Don't tell me, and I'll just be a mess.
So for this week's episode, we're going to talk about our favorite John Hughes movies, and this can go multiple ways because he only directed 8 films. So we can talk about those, but we can also talk about the ones he wrote the screenplays to.
Do you think all of the stuff he wrote was like based on his life?
A lot of it was. So like his whole Shermer, Illinois, which was where a lot of his, like Chicago.
Right.
Shermer was a fictional town, but he kind of had, and I talked with Kevin Smoker, the author of the 80 Backpack America.
Right.
And he kind of sees he talks about how the people in Weird Science could actually be connected to the people in Ferris Bueller, who could be connected with 16 Candles. They kind of,
Is there
it's
any
not
one
obvious,
actor who maybe played in several of them, even as an extra?
Michael Anthony Hall. So he
Okay,
played
he was in Weird
Farmer
Science.
Ted, and then
Can I borrow your underpants for like 15 minutes?
yes, and then he played the dorky guy Brian in Breakfast Club.
Yeah, and
you
then
have all the basic food groups here, Brian. This is a very well balanced lunch.
Right.
Yeah,
that's right. Okay, wait, but he was also in. Anyway, okay.
He was in Johnny Be Good, but I don't think he.
You know what tripped me out is
Yeah.
he was in that Fox Catcher or whatever.
He was, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, you put on about 30 pounds,
Yeah.
and I didn't even recognize half. I didn't recognize what's the main character, Jim, whatever.
He also played Bill Gates in a Bill
He did?
Gates
I
biography.
guess he's not doing so bad. Where's
Yeah.
Molly?
Molly is doing. I think
She
she's
married
doing,
some French guy and is
yes,
like,
she's doing a lot of
cool.
Broadway.
Boring.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so I'm gonna do one that he wrote.
Okay.
And then
One he directed.
One he directed.
Okay.
Because there's a lot. I know you're a big fan of the big John. Is it John Candy, the fat guy who's all the
Very
ones
much so. Yeah.
I have a hard time with that guy.
Really?
I don't know why. No offense, but
Oh.
something about him is like, it's like, I didn't mind Chris Farley as much.
Mhm.
Will Ferrell needs to go
Yeah.
jump off a cliff. But anyway,
John Candy was a little bit more subtle than.
yeah, he wasn't as obnoxious, right?
Right. So I'd say Chris Farley is more the Belushi type.
Right.
Over the
But
top.
yeah, I couldn't ever get into the Uncle Buck. I mean, I watched it. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
But, so my favorite that he wrote was
Uh-huh.
Some Kind of Wonderful.
Yeah.
Hands down, easy. Like I was saying, the soundtrack. I have it. People are probably like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
They're like, "What is this song?" Like whatever. Those soundtracks are pretty great. Actually, they have these obscure songs that nobody really would remember, and if anybody does, you better marry them. You're your soulmate. Like,
Well, a cool part about that is they picked a Rolling Stones song that wasn't like a big hit. It was Miss Amanda Jones, which was the name of the
right.
Leah
That's right. I
Thompson
remember
character.
that.
Yeah.
You know, the one of the things, my favorite things about that movie, and certain other movies, is when, and the guy who plays the bully, he's such a
great.
dick. He's
Yeah.
so good at that. I love when, like, at the end, there's that retribution when somebody gets payback. I think in like Weird Science they get it too, right?
Yeah,
Obviously when
Chet.
right? Oh my god. Or when those bikers come and like scare
Yes.
the shit up. But
the guy from Hills Have Eyes.
oh yeah,
Is-
right. So in Some Kind of Wonderful, one of my favorite scenes is when they are at the party,
Mhm.
and that doofus guy is like, take him outside and, you know, kick his ass.
Yeah.
And Eric Stoltz is like, why don't you take me outside? He's
Yeah.
like, what? He's like, oh, see, I'm a host. I have friends here. He's a big pussy.
Yes.
He's like, take him outside. And then that guy walks in.
The bald guy who
Yes,
shaved his
who
head.
actually was in a couple. He was in Gattaca.
Yeah.
I remember being like, ooh, he's been in a couple other movies too. I liked him. And what was his name? Duncan?
Yes.
Right?
Good memory. Yes.
And he walks in and then with these guys and he's like, I don't think that's going to be necessary.
Yeah.
And you see the guy, like, all the color drops from his face and I'm like, yes! Like, scares the crap out of him.
He's
And
such a good character because it's like
his presence is like, you know.
and how they met in detention.
Right.
And there's no way him and Eric Stoltz should be friends.
Right, right.
Yeah.
But it's all about, like, you know what, I like loyalty and I have your back. And when Eric's got his sketch pad,
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
what's his name, pulls the desktop off, he's like, oh, it's
Not bad.
Right.
Yeah.
And the best part is that what's her name's friend, the main, who is Amanda Jones?
Leah Thompson?
Leah Thompson,
Uh-huh.
I know. Who would have thought she was so cute back then? Her best friend, Shane, who's a total
Yes.
biatch.
Mm-hmm.
She all of a sudden is making googly eyes at one of the bikers at the end.
That's
and I'm
right.
like, oh, yeah, you know you want that, little Chris. But yeah, I loved the whole you know, the little sister, like, you know, that they would. She's like, this can't be true. Like, I heard a vicious rumor today that what was his name in it? Keith.
Keith. Yes.
You know, asked out the most popular girl in school. Like,
Yeah.
there must be something psychologically wrong with her if she's willing to date the human tater tot. And then it's Cameron, right? The little sister.
Yeah,
she's like, please, I'm eating.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Well, and the dad is Taggart from Beverly Hills
Right.
Cop.
He's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. That was one of my, again, for the soundtrack. And then just, I love Watts.
Yeah,
She
that's
just, you know
Mary
what I
Stuart
mean?
Masterson.
Where she has to, like, make herself look normal and she's all, you know, dressing up and, you know, driving them around like Miss Daisy.
What else was the middle sister in? I'm looking her up. Her name
She
is
has
Maddie
been,
Corman.
Yeah, she's been in a lot of stuff. She's like that random girl.
She was in The Adventures of Ford Fairlane.
Oh, yeah. Seen that a couple times. Not
Mickey Blue Eyes. Yeah, she hasn't done much. but-
She's probably done like weird TV shows.
Did you know China Phillips was in the movie from Wilson Phillips? I mean, she might have played one of the friends.
Really? No.
Yeah.
Did she play Shane?
No, Shane is Molly Hagan.
She was a bitch.
Who... I've seen her in other things, too.
Interesting. I never would have. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
She played Mia. I don't know who Mia is, but...
I don't even know.
That's
interesting.
good. Yeah.
I love. Yeah, I love the underdog movies.
Oh, yeah, they're great.
Where the, you know.
This was definitely
But
one of my
I'm trying to
underdog
think, have they they redo movies all the time, like with the same premise of the John Hughes movies. Have they done like...
No, because I just think they're too iconic. They did remake Vacation, but then called it, it's almost like a
but
quasi-sequel.
I mean the plot,
but,
like
yeah.
they did, I think they did like She's All That. It's like where they take the geeky girl and they kind of redo her.
Which is almost like Can't Buy Me
Right,
Love.
right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
exactly. But I feel like they kind of take the same formula and but I probably should look into that because I'm wondering if they've done like a Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
Which, you know, where they have all these, you know, different dynamics. But
They
maybe
probably-
they
yeah.
don't focus on that as much because maybe it's not a big deal now. Because with all these little millennials, like they don't have their, okay, you're a band geek, you're
Right.
popular,
Everyone's
you're a
on their-
jock. Like nobody cares.
on their
They're like-
technology now,
Yeah,
so yeah,
everybody's
yeah.
like, we're all geeks.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Well, that's the thing. Geek is not a derogatory term anymore. Like,
Yeah, you're
it's
right.
almost
Like
cool.
chicks are like, I'm going to find a really cute geek
Yeah.
who can fix my computer and like can rock the skinny jeans like nobody's business.
Right.
Like
Way back when, not
my
happening.
God. Oh, well, you did peg your jeans.
I did back in 5th grade.
With,
so
with like if you were really.
That's coming back. Have you seen people doing
No.
it? Yes, I've seen people do this.
Well, I saw some friggin' denim overalls, and I was like, I literally screamed out loud. People looked at me. I'm like, ah! I'm like, what are these? Did somebody shoplift and then leave their clothes, their outfit? Like, this can't be right? And it's acid wash. But what's funny is like to see these 20-somethings rocking it. They're like, I look good. I'm all.
It
Bitch,
wasn't
you have
good
no
to-
idea.
yeah, it wasn't good 30 years ago.
So not right. It's
Yeah.
just, I guess that's what our parents thought when we were wearing.
The
them.
yoga pants have kind of like that was a big in kind of the 80s where the
Right.
spandex. And
Well,
now
yeah,
it's-
the spandex, yeah. But now the yoga pants are different. They're like wide and
Right.
like hippie and
Mhm.
whatever. But no, the stirrups at the bottom.
Yeah,
when they had that. I'm like,
I remember
are
those,
you going
yeah.
horseback riding? Like, what the fuck is that? I'm like, I don't get it. So, okay, so I got to go to my next one.
Yeah, so
sorry.
for directing.
Directing, it's hard.
It's limited.
It was hard.
Yeah.
So It was hard because I kind of trying to figure out which ones. And I think it was kind of between Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller, and 16 Candles.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with 16 Candles just because I'm thinking of it had some of the best, most memorable one-liners.
Yeah.
Because Long Duck Dong made that shit.
Great.
And just the grandparents and seeing just how, oh my God, had just such a mess. And
her boobies are in.
Oh my God, totally. I remember thinking too, she dressed really cool. It was not too over the top. Her freaking snotty sister who takes too much Valium and is all freaking stumbling down that and everybody.
And the guy she was marrying, he was like the
hairy
stereotypical.
He was a Jersey Gino.
Yeah, Italian guy. And he was in a lot of movies. He was also in Easy Money.
Right, he's like that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the best part, the thing about 16 Candles, besides the best one, Anthony Michael Hall too. That was.
He was in. Okay, so I'm going.
And
back.
so was what's his name from Say Anything. He was in that. It was his buddy.
Yeah, that's true.
John Cusack. He was in that.
Yeah.
They're remember he goes, I need to borrow your car or whatever. And they come to the window with these crazy headphones on, and they're what? They're all. He's like, it's better. He's like, what? They're alien. They're like. Female alien or whatever. She's got. How can you tell she's female? She got 4 tits. They were like, oh Jesus. But
and Joan Cusack was in it too. Which she had the neck brace and
She is awesome. How did they get movies together? They weren't. Didn't they have Gross Point Blank together? No, they had High Fidelity together.
Yes,
she was in that too. But
going back to the guy the guy she was marrying, the sister,
the Harry Bohunk.
That was the janitor in Breakfast Club.
Oh, it was Carl.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How did I know that?
Yeah. So
that's right. Because Carl is that's right. He kind of gives what's his name some shit.
Bender.
Oh my God, that dude. He was annoying. But yeah. So, but everybody knows Jake Ryan.
Oh, of course.
Everybody knows and that guy. I mean, I don't know where he is. I saw him do he did Mermaids.
When he was on this podcast, we looked him up because everyone loved Jake Ryan.
Right, that was
He makes furniture now, really high end furniture.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like
acting.
Channing Tatum and friggin' Magic Mike or Tatum Tanning, whatever. I forget which order that goes.
But the only other movie I remember him in is Vision Quest, he had the mohawk.
Oh no! He was in Mermaids.
And Mermaids, yes. Yeah.
He bones Winona Ryder.
Yeah.
and he's kind of a weirdo. But the thing about
Vision, I said Vision Quest, right?
Yeah, you said Vision Quest. Yeah. I remember the one thing that I loved is there's a scene where they're passing notes.
Yeah.
And they're asking questions, and I remember the pen that they use, and I had to have those pens.
Really?
Because it was just the way that it wrote. It was oh my God!
I hear speaking of millennials. Does anybody pass notes anymore?
Well,
you
no.
Just text each other.
Right. Right. I know. God, that was. Well, it was so funny. Yeah, I remember we used to fold them all funny, and we're don't show anyone.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that would be great. We should.
Or MASH.
We should perform a test on millennials. A basic, where they're sitting there, and hand them certain objects, and watch them be like,
my mind is blown.
Get them a rotary phone and watch them be like, what is this? Or a yellow Walkman.
Well, actually, they may be able to figure out the rotary because it's almost like swiping. Because
right, but they're going to be all, what is this? We're that's how we got concert tickets. That's how we won concert tickets, baby. But it's so heavy. Or a Walkman. I did my friend's kids had a yellow Walkman we found in her grandma's garage. And they were pushing the button. They're it bounces back because it's not a touch thing. And they're wait. And it would play in the little headphones. And they're wait. Well, how do you go back to the other song? And we're hold on. Open it up. Fast forward the other side. They're what are you doing? We're it's a high tech.
Yeah, I know. This is high tech shit.
Dude, we should totally do that.
Yes, let's get all the.
Let's do that. But I would feel bad for the kids that we're basically making fun of.
I know, but that's what they make.
That
fun
would be
of
funny.
us
We're gonna get.
Phone,
we're gonna get I'm gonna get a Total News at 11 big old video camera on a tripod. I'm gonna go.
Remember ViewMasters?
Oh my gosh.
They're the best.
Oh, they wouldn't. I know. I'm gonna give them a little Simon Says and see if they know that. All right, I'm gonna work on that.
All right,
cool.
Good job.
All right.
Okay, we're back, and we have a first-time person on the podcast, and it's Janice. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Be gentle with me.
I will. I will. So, again, you're a friend of Sarah, and Sarah is always shot out of a cannon. So, we met at the salon that Sarah works at, and you fit right into our conversation. So.
When it comes to movies, especially 80s movies, you can never get me to stop talking about them.
And she's wearing a New Kids on the Block hat, which is amazing.
I felt like it was the right time, and these people would appreciate my hat, my little trucker hat.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to talk about something near and dear to your heart, which is 80s movies, and specifically John Hughes movies. So what are your favorite John Hughes movies?
Without a doubt, 16 Candles. I mean, I will even admit that might be my favorite movie of all time.
Okay.
I can say that entire movie from beginning to end, and if it's on TV, I will watch it before I watch anything else.
So where do you remember the first time you saw it? Was it in a theater, or was it on video or cable?
It had to be on cable. I mean, I think that movie came out in what?
84?
84, so I was 6.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, it was at home somewhere. I mean, to this day, it actually surprises me when I catch some of the jokes because I obviously did not understand them at 6 years of age.
Right.
But yeah, and the fact that my parents let me see that movie.
Yeah, and we get away with more growing up. I think now, like, the millennials don't get away as much as we did.
Yeah, I hear my friends with their young kids talking like, "Oh my God, I would never let my kid watch that," and I'm like, I went to see Top Gun with my dad in a movie theater.
So did
okay,
I.
that's inappropriate.
Yes.
Yeah, but everything went back then.
Well, there's a famous story I've told on this podcast about my Top Gun experience, and I went with my mom and my dad. I was probably 8. And the whole lovemaking scene between Kelly McGillis and Tom Cruise, and my dad turned to my mom and said, "We didn't see this one coming," and so I had no idea what was going on.
Right?
It was just two people making out. So, but yeah, that was rated PG.
Yeah,
so, yeah,
that was shocking. Yeah, and it's the first time I ever saw a tongue either. I was like,
oh yeah,
that was kind of gross. So I actually was grossed out a little bit by the tongue.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to 16 Candles. You, of course, I'm sure, were in love with Jake Ryan.
Of course.
Yeah.
I think that's actually why, to this day, I still prefer guys with dark hair. It dates back all the way to Jake Ryan. Yes.
Now, did you see Vision Quest?
I did. I never made the connection, though, until years later that it was the same
guy.
Yeah, the Mohawk guy. Because, I mean, it doesn't look like him. He's what, 20, 30 pounds heavier?
Yeah.
And the Mohawk, no. I think I was actually in my 20s before I realized it was the same guy.
It was the same guy.
Yeah.
He's no longer acting. He makes really high-quality furniture, we found out.
And he's chunky.
He's chunky.
It's kind of sad.
It happens to all of us.
I know, but it's sad. You kind of hope, Tom Cruise managed to stay looking really good. Why can't the rest of them?
Yes, not everyone can be like Tom Cruise. Okay, so 16 Candles, definitely one of your favorite.
Yes.
Are there any other John Hughes movies that are your top?
I mean, anything Brat Pack, so, Breakfast Club. What else is there? Help me out here.
Well, he did Ferris Bueller.
Ferris Bueller, but Weird Science.
Weird Science,
Weird
definitely.
Science, yeah. I had a crush on not the blonde one, but the dark-haired, dark-haired one.
He really didn't do much after that.
He didn't. I don't remember what his name is, but
he was
again, another dark-haired guy. I always seem to go for the dark-haired guys.
It's so weird. Did you like Matthew Broderick?
I didn't.
Okay, but he's dark-haired.
I know, but he was slightly, I'm going to say he's slightly geeky, but so is the guy in Weird Science.
That's true.
There's something about him, never found him attractive whatsoever.
Ian Mitchell Smith.
Yes.
That's Wyatt.
Yes.
I don't know if he did anything after
I don't
that.
think so either.
Even though Bill Paxton?
Paxton, yes.
She just passed away.
Which was very sad to hear.
Chet.
Yes, Chet.
She's back. Yeah, Wyatt wasn't in much after that. It was pretty much
I was saying
Weird
I had
Science.
a thing for Wyatt in Weird Science.
She likes dark-haired guys like Jake Ryan.
He was kind of cute.
He
but
was.
He didn't do anything.
No.
It's kind of like the guy from Bosom Buddies.
Peter Scolari, yeah.
Something.
Wait,
well, he just did a show called Girls on HBO.
Yeah.
He's at a commercial right now, too. I just saw him the other day on a commercial on TV. Can't tell you what it was for,
He's a
though.
little odd.
He's a little odd.
I stopped hanging out with him anyway.
Okay, and then writing-wise, you just saw Career Opportunities, which
I did.
I don't think a lot of people have seen. So.
It comes on TV every once in a while, and especially on like regular cable, so it's not edited with. But yeah, it's such a bad movie, and I'm sure if I saw
so bad it's good, right?
It's so bad it's good, but it's also one of those things that I don't know about you, but as I grow older, there's movies that I see today that I'm like, this is complete crap, and I hate it. But I know if I had seen it when I was a kid, I would have loved it.
Yep.
And same with those movies like Caddyshack. I saw Caddyshack for the first time maybe 5 years ago.
Really?
I thought it was horrible.
Oh
I was
my
just
God.
like, what is wrong with people that love this movie? I'm like, maybe if I'd seen it when I was 10, I would love it like everybody else does. But I think it's complete crap.
We're gonna do a subject where movies that you loved as a kid that don't hold up as well now.
Yeah.
And so that it'll be interesting to hear what people have to say on that one.
Even Career Opportunities is one of those. And that is not a good movie. The premise is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean,
they get locked in a Target, right?
Yeah. Well, because he works. He's the night.
Right.
He's the night guy. But then she gets locked in there.
Right. On purpose.
Yeah. But like they didn't check the dressing room.
Yeah.
Fine. That's never gonna happen.
And she's a rich girl, right? Like
she's like the rich rebel girl of
Right.
the town, and he's the town liar.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they end together. Yeah, that's believable.
Seems like a perfectly plausible 80s,
Yeah.
late 80s plot and everything.
Right, exactly.
So, well, anyway, great job. Great debut on the podcast.
Thank you.
We hope to have you
That
on
was
many more
fun.
episodes. Okay, so we're back with Samantha. Welcome back.
Thank you.
So this week we're going to talk about our favorite 80s movie director and writer, and that's John Hughes. And as a caveat, I made sure everyone had to pick one of their favorite directing movies from him and then favorite movies that he wrote. So, yes, I put rules in here. Anyone hates rules, but sometimes you have to do it. So, I'm curious.
I like rules.
Oh, good.
I like
that's why I have you on every
direction.
week.
I follow the rules.
You do, actually, which I always appreciate.
I don't.
So first let's talk about your favorite movie that John Hughes directed.
So he directed far fewer than he wrote.
Yes,
I
definitely.
realized because I've only ever really associated him with the big like Brat Pack
Sure.
movies, and I watched all those kind of when I was a teenager. And I think just my general favorite is the classic Breakfast
Sure.
Club. I think that was the one that always stuck with
Uh-huh.
me and resonated the most. I always liked how all the different kids were brought together in the one room, and
Yeah.
they can't really go much else. It's there's a name for that when something's filmed entirely in one place.
Yeah, I know
Anyway,
exactly what you're talking
if I
about.
would have thought about this ahead of time, I could have looked it up. But yeah, I've always liked that. I like the different characters and how they interact. And then I always like Molly Ringwald. She's just
she's
really
the
cute
perennial
in that
80s.
movie.
It would be your typical almost Hitchcock type movie because he likes the single location. So I think that would have been
Yeah.
perfect for him. Because
Yeah.
really, besides that one room, I mean, Judd Nelson's character gets in the rafters and ends up.
Oh
gets
and then they
thrown in the
kind of
closet.
like run around a bit in the hall, and they're trying to mess with the teacher guy.
Yes.
Is he the principal?
He's the vice principal, I think. Yeah.
Creepy dude.
Vernon. Yeah.
And I just love that movie, and there's just those moments where it does seem stuck in the 80s, but then watching it, I think I watched it when I was a teenager, and I was like, this is still kind of similar. I went to a public high school in California, and you do have those cliques still, and like you don't really talk with the certain people, and it was just, I think it's a great classic teen movie.
I think it would be interesting today because if it was the Breakfast Club, they would have to take away everyone's phone because then they wouldn't relate to each other. They wouldn't even talk. They would either text each other or not talk at all.
In detention, I wonder what they do.
I would hope they take their phone away.
Put the phones in a basket.
Yeah,
or
pretty
something.
much. Like I don't know what the rules are now in school. I'd almost be curious to talk to a teenager today.
Because I know. Like, I have cousins, and my brother was in high school a few years ago, and they're much more lenient about cell phones than when I was. Oh, this is a total tangent now.
Right.
But, they can still they can, have them out in class, depending on
That's
the teacher,
insane.
and I'm so it would be cool, actually, to see an updated version of this movie.
Like how they would handle it.
Yeah, it wouldn't have the charm, though, of the original.
It would.
I don't think you could really have the jock.
No.
And just the certain roles in kind of the Allison girl.
Yeah.
I could see that kind of causing some issues nowadays.
Sure. That was the first time I had ever seen sushi. Like someone actually eating sushi. Yeah.
I think, and to me that was so funny because when I watched it, I was like, everybody eats sushi.
But back then, it was...
Really? No one ate sushi? In, what was it, 1984?
Yeah, 84, 85, and then, Judd Nelson, I think there's always a kind of a punk kid like Judd Nelson.
Yeah.
The geek, the Anthony Michael Hall character, he's probably not even a geek anymore. He'd just be a tech nerd.
Yeah.
Because he's super smart and just.
And it's really not bad anymore.
No, not at all. It's not a stigma.
So it would be really cool to see kind of how that would happen nowadays if you even could, because everything has to be so politically correct.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. The jock would probably be vilified the most, that type of character.
Yeah.
But it was just fun. And then of course the Bassett case, having Ali Sheedy, she was so.
I think
so great.
she was my favorite.
Yeah, she was the funniest. I know. She just doesn't say anything, then finally she just lets loose. Yeah, it's so great.
Yeah, so I think just of my John Hughes movies, of the
ones he directed,
directing and writing,
okay,
that's probably my top. Definitely the one he directed.
Okay,
I think 16 Candles kind of came next.
Sure.
For me, the main character is named Samantha, so
it's a natural.
Like, oh my god! I always felt my name's not that common, so whenever there was a character with that name, I always
it's perfect.
It's special, but yeah.
Okay, so then which one would you go for writing?
So writing, I would. I like I said, I think still. The Breakfast Club.
Okay, that'd be.
But I was looking through his stuff and I had like a major wave of nostalgia.
Oh yeah.
Because I did not know he wrote some of these movies I watched when I was a kid, like in the early 90s.
Like Beethoven.
Beethoven, and then 101 Dalmatians.
Yeah, the
live action one.
Yeah.
Glenn Close. I loved that movie. And I even had like computer games.
Did you really?
Yeah, the PC game.
Now you're dating yourself.
I know. Yeah, but I had no clue he wrote 101 Dalmatians, and then also Flubber.
Yeah, that's true. The remake with Robin Williams. Yeah.
That's a remake.
So the original is based on The Absent-Minded Professor with Fred McMurray.
Oh.
And so they just called it Flubber.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, if you want to watch really funny dated material, like the basketball scenes when they basically put the flubber in their shoes, it's really funny. Yeah.
I had no clue.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I really loved the movie Flubber when I was a kid, and just Robin Williams hilarious, and just it's great. And then knowing that he wrote it now, I'm like, oh, that kind of makes sense. Yeah. But what else was on here? There's just so many things. Did you have one that you think he wrote?
That wasn't
your favorite directed?
That wasn't. Yeah, definitely. So I did a top 10 list. So as we do the sequence, I'd already said it, but The First Vacation is one of my all-time favorite movies. He wrote that, and that was based on a short story called Vacation 58.
Okay.
So that one, and Mr. Mom. I loved Mr. Mom growing up with Michael Keaton.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, so it was made in 83. He didn't direct it, but he wrote it, and it's just really funny. It might seem dated now because he's basically, he gets laid off his job and at a auto factory plant.
Okay.
And then his wife, Terry Garr, basically goes to work, and then he becomes a stay-at-home dad.
Okay.
And it's just funny, the scenes of like him trying to drop the kids off at school or going grocery shopping. It's still timeless and really funny. And then her having to deal with her her boss who's like sexually harassing her and everything. And so it's interesting, back and forth. So it's a really funny comedy.
Okay.
So that's really good. Yeah, and of course, he wrote Pretty in Pink. He wrote Some Kind of Wonderful, and I love all those movies. So
yeah, Pretty in Pink's another good one.
Yeah,
the soundtrack and the fashion in that one is so fun.
Yeah,
so
and Home Alone.
Home Alone. It's hard to choose. It's I was kind of trying to think what is today I think a great movie versus nostalgia.
Sure.
So that's why I went with The Breakfast Club.
Oh, totally.
It's just a phenomenal film, and then but everything else is so good. Yeah, I was watching the vacation movies where there was a marathon this weekend on TV. I watched part of the European vacation, and I'm like, oh,
it's sad. It's weird because I grew up with it, so I kind of give it a pass. But yeah, it's not nearly as good as the first.
Yeah,
and Christmas is definitely better, and then it tails off of Vegas Vacation, even though there's some funny stuff in that. But yeah, those are all good.
They're stuck in the 80s.
Yeah.
A bit, but yeah, good career. I think he died too soon.
Yeah, which is really sad because I'm not sure why he stopped directing. Maybe it got to be too much. But obviously, he was a super talented writer. So
yeah. Why did he stop directing?
I don't know. I should probably do some research on that. But hey, other people can do that too. I'm just giving you my top list here because. This isn't our regular job either.
Sometimes it's good to go out with a quality few than more than you need.
That's right. Harper Lee wrote one classic book and nothing else.
Yeah. Well, she did write a new one.
Well,
last year, but
I don't think it was ever meant to be released.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Anyway, on that note.
Thank
you so much, Samantha.
Okay, thanks.
All right, after a few weeks off because she was on vacation,
Hi.
Enrica is back, and we're happy for that. And so,
thank you.
I was glad to introduce her to this subject because she knew about it, but she didn't really know about it.
Yeah. So when he said John Hughes movies, so you want to talk about them, I was like,
what is that? And that was about 15, 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And he was like, you'll know when you see the list of movies. And I looked it up and I was like, what? This one guy wrote like all of these movies. And he's like and I made the comment, he's like the original Nicholas Sparks, because that's my generation, is like all those cheesy romance movies. But this guy, these weren't like cheesy movies. These were like legit, like romantic / funny / moving, all the
and they're still popular to this day.
They're still popular. Yeah. They had lasting power and staying power. They were good movies. I didn't know he had anything to do with any of them.
Yeah. I mean, he was definitely more prolific as a writer. I'm not sure why he stopped directing, to be honest with you. I think maybe he just enjoyed the writing process more than directing. So
yeah, that's a good point. Like, I was looking at the ones he directed, and he kind of stopped and then just kept writing, which I guess at a certain point directing is like really physically demanding, and I don't know, if you just like stories, I feel like it's more fun to just write them.
And I think from what I remember, he always had to leave his family if he had to go direct on site somewhere, so that might have played into it.
Directing is like very demanding. So,
Okay, so let's start with directing. What was your favorite one that he actually directed of the 8 movies he directed?
So I looked at the list of 8, and the first one was 16 Candles, and I was trying to remember if I liked it or not, so I feel like that means it wasn't my favorite.
Sure. That makes sense, yeah.
I don't remember which one it is.
So it's Molly Ringwald.
Right.
And her name is Samantha, which is why Samantha likes 16 Candles.
Oh, that's cute. Of course,
So it's basically she's turning 16. It's the day of her birthday, and she's in love with Jake Ryan, the popular boy. And basically it's just comedy of errors throughout the whole day. Everyone forgets her birthday.
Right. And, I remember this one. He always did those, like, what happens in a day ones.
Yes.
And I like that.
Like the Breakfast Club.
Like the Breakfast Club, like 16 Candles, and
Ferris Bueller.
And that's, I think, of all the ones, the 8 ones he directed, that one's my favorite one that he directed. It is just really iconic.
It is, I know.
And it was one of the movies that we always watched, like, on the bus to field trips.
Really?
It was always just, like, in the van. And the marching band would go on trips all over, and we always had Ferris Bueller and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Which he wrote, too. And directed,
Yeah, but Ferris Bueller, I don't know why I liked it so much. Maybe I associate with like these positive high school memories, but I think I also love Matthew Broderick. Like anything he does, I'm in love with. And from a directing standpoint, it's like there's a lot of visual memories that I have from that movie. That are clearly just like a director had a vision and made that, like with the car and the house and like the car driving
and the use of
off.
Chicago,
everything was Chicago. But I have those visuals that are kind of iconic, the leather jacket, like all these things that a director would make a decision on that kind of stuck through this kind of, and made it iconic. So from a directing standpoint, I think I like that one the best, just like subjectively.
And there was actually recently a Domino's Pizza commercial that is doing the same thing when Ferris is running home to try to beat his parents.
Right, yeah.
He's trying to catch the Domino's Pizza man. And it's not Matthew Broderick, but it's a guy that looks exactly like him.
Similar look.
And so we just found out from last week's research, actors that were going to play certain roles, that they actually thought about having Johnny Depp play the Ferris character.
No way.
I don't think it would have worked.
I don't think it would have worked at all. Maybe, but it would have been a much different film.
He doesn't seem as lighthearted and like kind of the wink and the smile.
That's what I mean by like it would have been he would have been like a naughty sex icon if he was. I think that Matthew Broderick brought like that cutesy,
the guy next door,
innocent boy next door. That made it more of like a funny movie.
And it's a great soundtrack too. It's
one of the best. All of those movies had like some of the best soundtracks.
Really well done.
Really well curated.
And as I always tell people, because I was young when this came out, so I was probably 9 years old, and we rented it, and I loved it. And the float where he's lip syncing to Twist and Shout,
right?
And I'm like, is he singing, Dad? And my dad's looking like shaking his head. That's a little known band called the Beatles. And like,
is he singing?
I didn't know. Everything seemed real to me, when you were a little kid. So
that's true. That's really cute.
But that's a great pick.
I think that one was my favorite, and I also circled Planes, Trains, and Automobiles because he directed that one too. And that was only a year later. I didn't realize these all came out like at the same time.
He had an amazing run. Like you look like I think it was like 16 Candles and Breakfast Club and Weird
Pretty
Science.
And all of them at the same time.
Yeah, amazing.
Ferris Bueller.
Yeah.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. That one has like a very different vibe.
It does. It's more adult than anything. Yeah.
And I really liked it. My sister's husband loves it and made me watch it as a kid, and I didn't get it. I was like, I don't get why it's funny.
Yeah.
And then I watched it later, and I was like, oh my god, I was laughing the entire time.
Oh, yeah.
It was so funny.
I think kids really like John Candy's role. But as you get older, I think you really appreciate Steve Martin more.
I love Steve Martin in that movie. It's so funny. He's so funny.
And when he loses it on the rental car lady, who is actually in Ferris Bueller, she's the secretary.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
So he reused
I'll have
a lot
to
of people.
rewatch it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that one was so funny. Another one of those, like, action-oriented, like, where the actual physicality of the movie sticks in my head, like the action. And
like the car burning up.
And, like, all of these action sequences as comedy sequences, I feel like we don't see very much anymore. He kind of, like, branded that.
Totally.
There was Rat Race, which was a similar vibe, but...
And that was a remake of It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World.
Yeah. So, like, I feel like that kind of style is kind of been taken over by these, like, really ridiculous, like, Hangover, really ridiculous action-oriented comedies, which are, like, so gross to the point where they're not fun to watch.
What's interesting is none of his movies, well, very few of his movies have been remade. It's almost like they're too iconic to remake.
They might. Give it 10 years.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But they're already doing it with some things. But, like, yeah, I mean, I'm actually shocked because usually they try to remake now.
Yeah, they probably will.
Yeah.
They probably will in, like, a decade or so.
All right, so let's go to the ones that he wrote. So there are definitely ones that popped out at you that you were like, oh my god, he wrote this.
Yeah, all the Home Alones. I didn't know that he wrote those. I actually, little known fact, never saw the first two. I only saw the third one where it's like wintertime.
No way.
Yeah.
So I've never seen the third one. I've only seen the first two.
Because I'm a 90s kid, so I gotta like go. All the 90s ones are the ones that I have very vivid memories of. So like the Home Alone 3, I think, is the one where he's like sick.
I've never seen the third one. Is Macaulay Culkin actually in it?
No, it's a different actor.
That's why I've never seen it. Yeah.
And there is this whole sequence with like sourdough bread, and it takes place in San Francisco. And it was like my first impression of San Francisco and sourdough bread. I didn't know. I'm from New York. I had no concept of what it was. I was like, Mom, what's sourdough? and gave me this like wanderlust for San Francisco.
Yeah.
When I was like 5-6 years old.
So when you finally ate sourdough bread, you're like, now I know what it's all about.
Yeah, totally threw me back to Home Alone 3. And I always would watch it when I was homesick. So I felt like it makes me feel both sick and nostalgic for pre-discovery of the Bay Area.
See, that's funny you mentioned that. Ferris Bueller was my stay-at-home sick movie.
Really?
Like, I'd always watch that.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Home Alone 3 came out in 97, so I was 6 years old.
And
well, my birthday is tomorrow, so it'll be about that.
This will be published the day after. Well, actually, it'll probably be published tomorrow. So
happy birthday to me.
Say happy birthday to Enrica if you get a chance.
Yeah. Thanks. I mean, cool. I also loved Beethoven, which he wrote.
I knew somebody would. I needed a millennial to mention Beethoven,
which I think was on my list of favorite dog movies.
Yeah,
I just I love big dogs. I love drooly dogs. I loved I cried so hard at Beethoven. I don't know why. I must have been like 7 or 8 years old, and just like the dog got me in my soul.
Then you must have loved Turner and Hooch because he was a big slobbery dog.
I cried probably through 90% of Turner and Hooch. I know. Because Tom Hanks makes me cry. Just like he can say anything.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks. I love Tom Hanks so much. But yeah. So Beethoven, and then Flubber, and that's purely because of Robin Williams.
Yeah, Samantha mentioned that one too. You knew that was a remake, right?
I did. Okay. I did know that was a remake. But I only kind of ever saw the first one and was introduced, the second one, and was introduced
through Flubber,
through Flubber and Robin Williams, and the whole idea of like a scientist, like a mad scientist.
Yeah,
I always loved those characters because I was super nerdy and into science, and I always liked when the Bears movies that kind of glamorized it a little bit.
Yeah.
So I really liked Flubber. I loved it. I thought it was funny, and the character of the Flubber.
Yeah.
Like, how do you make a character out of
And they do.
green goo and
Yeah.
its little voice, and it's just so cute.
That's one that it should have been remade because the originals were in black and white, and Fred
Yeah.
McMurray was the absent-minded professor,
Mhm.
and it's just this black. It looked like tar.
Yeah.
So I think it really lent itself to being remade.
Yeah, so Beethoven, Home Alone 3,
Mm-hmm.
101 Dalmatians, he produced and wrote.
Mm-hmm. With Glenn
the
Close,
live action version, and Hugh Laurie.
That's
fun
true.
fact.
Yeah.
Hugh Laurie's my favorite part about that movie. He's so good in that movie, and anything with puppies. I mean, come on.
You gotta love.
And
it's funny. He went through an animal phase there. So,
yeah, I mean, because they're great to work with action wise. I think he liked the action piece.
Probably did. Yeah.
You know,
the action comedy.
Yeah, and they did such a good job with the remake, the 101 Dalmatian live action version, like the visuals. Glenn could not have picked a better Cruella de Vil.
Yeah.
Like, not in a million
What about Meryl
years.
Streep? She basically played her in Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah, I
But,
mean, she's inspired, but Devil Wears Prada was a lot more of an aloof.
True.
And then she played, like, the really intricate emotions of that woman very well. And I like that Cruella is just
evil.
Yeah. Like,
no, she is. Yeah.
And Glenn Close like had the like, maniacal laugh
Mhm.
and the walk and the way she carried herself. And of course, Meryl could do that too.
Sure.
But like, there was an austerity brought to
Mhm.
it by.
I
Glenn
think people
Close.
forget about how great Glenn Close is and was, and
They
especially in the 80s.
they better not. If you're listening, you best not be sleeping on Glenn Close.
No, I
like
know.
she's incredible.
Well,
She's
definitely go back, watch The Big Chill,
Yeah.
watch obviously Fatal Attraction, Jagged Edge. Did you ever see Jagged
I
Edge?
never saw Jagged.
That's with Kurt Russell. It's good suspense.
Oh,
thriller.
really?
It's based in San Francisco. So.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm like really discovering all of these Bay Area movies.
Oh, yeah.
Because I, never thought anything of it. Now living here,
Yeah.
it means more.
It's a lot of fun to watch movies where you've actually lived.
Because, I mean, I lived in Pittsburgh for 4 years,
Yeah.
and there are so many movies filmed there
Yeah.
because it's cheap,
Mhm.
and we give out, like, really good tax breaks for filmmakers.
Yeah.
And there's literally nobody in Pittsburgh in the summer because it's such a college town that
Mm.
it loses, like, half its population.
Mhm.
So these film sets would get established just in the city over the summer. And
Yeah.
It was one summer where my fiance was working in the lab, and he said there's Batmobiles everywhere because they were filming the one with Bane. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, Dark Knight Rises. They filmed in Pittsburgh that summer.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Ah.
And there's like a scene where my apartment is actually like in the background,
Mhm.
and it's clearly summer.
Yeah.
Like they film it at the Carnegie Institute, which I went to Carnegie Mellon, so it's on our campus, and it's like the big Pittsburgh pillars, the Carnegie pillars, and it's a beautiful place,
Mhm.
and it's right across from my old college apartment building.
Okay.
So watching that scene, I was like, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
I used to watch people get married there on Sunday mornings and like watch out the window with my coffee. It's very college romantic.
Yeah.
But the funny part of that scene is like I was super in tune like to looking into the background because that's where my apartment was, and I was like, you can see the bright summer sun and like the leaves on the trees.
Yeah.
And then it's like snowing.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was that really bad tension. I didn't like that movie, but I liked watching Pittsburgh in that movie.
Did you watch the first Jack Reacher?
I did. That was
Yeah.
also in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, exactly.
And I only watched that one for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's actually in the very beginning too. I mean, it's it's a bad scene.
It's a
but
terrible
yeah.
scene, but
Right
you
near
know,
the stadium. So yeah.
And I love it. I love it so much. And then there's that scene in The Dark Knight Rises, or there's a scene in which the Steelers are actually like in it.
Yeah, they call them whatever the Gotham City Knights are.
And the Steelers are in it.
Yeah.
And it's Pittsburgh. It's the Heinz Field. And
Yeah.
everything. So
Did you ever see All the Right Moves?
No.
That's an old. It's an '80s Tom Cruise movie where he's I think it's Pittsburgh, but I'm not sure. It's definitely Pennsylvania, and he's on a high school. He's a high school football player.
Oh,
and it's definitely a
I've never
steel
saw-
town.
Oh, it's probably Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so easy to make movies in Pittsburgh.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know all these. Was he like a Bay Area guy?
No, so John Hughes was based in. So Chicago was
his homeland.
Yeah, so that's why Ferris and a lot of those.
Why did he make all these like Bay Area movies?
I don't think he did. Did he? Like what other?
I'm thinking of Home Alone 3 and what's
well,
the other one?
Home Alone 2 was in New York, and then Home
Right, in
Alone
different
1, I think.
cities.
Yeah, like Uncle Buck was in Chicago. A lot of them are Midwest Illinois, like especially
Okay.
the early ones.
And then Flubber. 101 Dalmatians, Home Alone 3. Those are 3 that really hit home because I was a kid.
Yeah,
I was
so
like
that's
5, 6 years old. And then lastly, Made in Manhattan.
He wrote that?
Apparently.
Wow. I'll be damned.
Look.
That was
Made
one of his
in
last
Manhattan,
ones.
2002.
I'll be damned.
I'm a sucker for J-Lo. Watch her eat a sandwich.
You could, yeah.
I love her so much. So that was my last one that he wrote.
Yeah.
That I liked.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I don't think anyone else would have mentioned that.
See, but I have the printout.
Yeah, she did.
I had to print it out, or I would not
newfangled
remember.
media tablet BS. We have actual tangible paper here.
Yeah, I need it, man.
Yeah.
Or I will forget everything.
As always, thank you, Enrica.
Thank you.
All right, thanks to everyone that was on the show this week. 2 more films that I had that were honorable mentions that didn't make my top 10, but they very well could have. One, of course, is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. That was written and directed. Of course, John Candy was kind of a staple in a lot of John Hughes movies, and Steve Martin's so good. They play off each other so well. Really well done film. And then lastly is The Great Outdoors, which was written by Hughes but directed by Howard Deutsch, who I said before he directed some kind of Wonderful and Pretty in Pink. It's fun. It's not quite the best. I mean, it's more, if you love John Candy and you love Dan Aykroyd and you have that dynamic, and Annette Bening's also in the movie, it's fun. It's a harmless movie. It probably shouldn't be in the top 10, but it's great. Even like John Hughes wrote also Beethoven, but I'm not going to put that on the list. But I'm surprised nobody picked that as one of their favorite animals in our animal episode. Anyway, this was a lot of fun. Like I said before, go back and watch some of these films. They're a lot of fun. And we'll be back next week, but now for the plugs. If you enjoy this podcast and are an iTunes user, please do the show a favor and head on over to the official iTunes page for Damn Good Movie Memories. Be sure to leave a rating and a review. This will allow the show to appear higher in the algorithm and spread the joy of this podcast to the masses. If you are not an iTunes user, you can still listen and subscribe on Podbean at damngoodmoviememories.podbean.com. Be sure to like us on Facebook under our Damn Good Movie Memories page. You can also listen to a limited number of episodes on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and be sure to tune in next week for an all-new episode of Damn Good Movie Memories.